Welcome to our weekly Governance Voice. This is a program that brings together governance experts and leaders of industry to discuss various issues on governance and leadership. This program is brought to you courtesy of the Institute of Certified Secretaries and powered by Bafunde. I am your host, Obari Nyaega. This morning, we are privileged and lucky to have one of our very established leader in the industry, FCS Nkirote Mworia, who is currently the group company secretary and legal counsel at UAP Old Mutual. Speaking a bit about FCS Nkirote, she's been responsible in terms of areas of governance and legal issues on the integration of three companies, as the UAP, Old Mutual, and Faulu. She has also been involved and worked very intensively in various countries, including Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and South Sudan. With that very heavy profile, I want to welcome formally FCS Nkirote. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, and good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good morning. So we could begin off just talking about Nkirote herself and her journey to where she is currently. You could probably take us through. I've seen so many things that you've accomplished from your profile. You could tell us that journey to where you are currently, FCS.
Thank you so much, first of all, for this opportunity and for having me just share my experience and my journey. So I've always been interested in governance, actually. I studied law and went on to master in commercial and corporate law. When I was studying for my commercial law is when I came across the concepts of corporate governance. And even though I knew that that's probably the area I wanted to go into, it was critical that I ground my legal profession or legal career. And so I started in practicing with a firm which was in commercial law, a bit of family law. It was quite interesting. There, I first met what I would call my first professional mentor. The partner of the firm called out my interest, my passion in corporate and commercial matters, and so would give me quite a bit of work in that area. And so when an opportunity came knocking for me to join the corporate sector, actually she encouraged me to go and pursue that career. So over the years, I've worked in the private sector first, in telecoms. It was a startup, very tough, very interesting environment. It was a multinational company. And so I learned a lot there, particularly about governing multinational organizations. I then went on to the public sector. I would only call it a move in self-disruption. I was comfortable in the private corporate sector, but when the advertisement went out to join a new public sector organization, I was willing to give it a try. And so I went into the public sector and I ended up being there for 11 years. I don't know how that happened, but that was my journey. It was in the financial services regulation area. First in pensions regulation and then in insurance regulation. CEO, I loved my job in the public sector. It gave me an opportunity to practice governance at a different level that impacts an industry. It impacts the public, not only in Kenya, but across the region. And that really spurred me on. It inspired me. However, it reached a point where I was of the view that there was more that I could learn, particularly about the organizations which I was regulating at that time. And that's when the opportunity came for me to go back to the private sector, still in financial services, to the UAP Old Mutual Group. In this career journey, the key issue has been I have wished to maintain a curiosity and excellence around every assignment that comes my way. Some people call them jobs, some call them roles, I call them assignments. And in each of these assignments that are entrusted to me, I wish to understand more, learn more, and therefore to build a legacy. And so that actually has been the basis of every time I have gone back, either to school or to learn a new skill. It's been in the hope that somehow it will improve what I am practicing at that time. So at various times in my career, I've gone back to school to study human resources, to study business, including business strategy through an MBA, how to unlock potential of others in the team by undertaking some coaching, executive coaching certification, various corporate governance trainings, various leadership programs, supervision and regulation programs, and policy development programs. And so that has been the trajectory of my career. It's not yet done. I'm still learning. I'm still growing.
All right.
Yes.
Maybe I should ask about this duality of role when you talk about a company secretary and being a legal counsel.
Yes.
How do you manage some of these? Because sometimes they seem to be distinct, sometimes they seem to be crossing. Maybe you could give a word or two on how you handle that.
Yes. Well, being a corporate secretary is a role that really has evolved over time, as we both know. This is our profession.
Yes.
And it includes the management of a number of corporate governance-related functions and processes within an organization, which in itself are critical to the sustainability and survival of that organization, including the management of various stakeholders. The legal function also has its own responsibilities, which are quite heavy. There are myriad of legal matters which affect an organization, including leadership of a robust compliance program, as we well know, as well as other matters where the management and the board expect guidance. And so, whereas the two roles are pretty demanding, both in the public and actually even in the private sector, you find that these services, which are mostly supporting nature, are consistently operating under a very lean structure and under budgetary constraints. And so many times you find the roles being combined. It is important that anyone who is attempting to manage both roles looks out for certain disruptors. Otherwise, the functions can end up being inefficient. They can also end up being dysfunctional. It's important that there is role clarity, the understanding of when one is wearing the governance hat and then when one is being the legal advisor of the business. It's important to ensure that there is adequate experience within the team. And if you do not have that experience, to also ensure that you're utilizing your external resources well to support you, to ensure that you're adding value, both to the governance processes, but also to the legal processes. And while doing that, there is something that is called loss of legal privilege. It is possible for one who is juggling both roles to actually go so deeply into giving commercial advice or governance advice that they forget that there is legal privilege to be maintained when giving legal advice. And so it's important that one keeps that balance, knowing clearly when they're giving legal advice, which may come to bear if a matter comes into a formal dispute resolution process and is therefore privileged and need not be exposed, but also not to be distracted from dealing conclusively with governance issues. So in my view, for anyone who is building a team that is doing both governance and legal work, or corporate secretarial and legal work, it's important to keep your eye on clarifying the strategic objectives for both roles, making choices rather than sacrifices. So making the choice as to what to focus on in each of the roles at any given time. Remember, structure follows strategy. So once you have your strategy in place, what value you're going to add to the business in both roles, then you can put in place a structure that supports that. I have always been of the view that it's important to build generalists within the legal and corporate secretarial team. People who understand governance well, but also are deeply rooted in the legal profession or whichever other profession that they are holding at that particular time. So building multi-skills, ensuring there's career progression, ensuring that each understands the ethics around the dual roles that are being played, leveraging on technology so that we are also able to manage and to identify performance measures that make sense for the business. So it's important that that when one is in that position, to be intentional. I think that's a word, to be intentional about how you manage both roles.
Right. So as we look about issues of career development and mentorship, how would you simplistically talk about or define mentorship to be?
All right. I did mention that I stumbled upon a professional mentor.
Yes.
I don't think I knew really at that time what it was. But in a mentorship relationship, a mentor is a person who is a friend and guides a less experienced person, yes, by building trust and modeling positive behavior to them. They remain a wise and supportive and trusted teacher, counselor, or advisor. And yet, it's interesting. For a mentor, they will use their experiences so that the mentee, the person who is being mentored in that relationship, does not have to navigate the same path blind. We were treated to a front row seat to the World Rally Championship that came to Kenya maybe a couple of months back, where we were told what the role of a navigator is. The navigator sits down and takes pace notes and key signposts and are able to guide the driver to make the right decisions as they are driving along. In the same way, the mentor is willing to share their pace notes with the mentee so that the mentee does not have to make the same mistakes or can leverage on the successes that the mentor has had. But see you, there's an issue. Many mentees don't understand that they also have a key role. They will walk up and ask to be mentored, but they are not ready to be a mentee. And perhaps that's where in a mentorship relationship, it's important for both the mentor and the mentee to understand what their role is. We've talked about the mentor. The mentee has to be committed to remain responsible for their own goals of development, but to enjoy the benefit of the mentor's guidance, but also remain responsible for their own success so that it is not upon the mentor to define what success is. It is the mentee to define success. Be ready for objective feedback. Not every feedback you will get from a mentor is feedback that you will enjoy, but it will be beneficial. And the mentee should have an open mind to see new things, to understand new approaches to addressing certain issues as suggested by the mentor. The mentee should also have realistic expectations of this relationship. No one is perfect, and even the mentor is not perfect. They will share of their experiences, but it takes honesty, it takes effort, and it takes time to build a strong mentorship relationship. The mentee should also understand that even though they are busy, so too is the mentor, and they need to make time and be committed because at the end of the day, it is that communication between the two that makes a strong mentorship relationship.
Very good analogies that you have given.
Yes.
But the question is then, does this journey end? You know, as you become a leader, for example, yourself now, you are actually mentoring other people.
Yeah.
Do you also require mentorship? Some people shy away from these kind of things as they become leaders.
Yeah.
You know?
So when there is an understanding of what mentorship is, yes, you will find that the mentee will always be reflecting, or someone who wants or desires mentorship will reflect at every point or about what they need from that relationship. The mentorship relationship has a very strong value. The mentor is able to give access to the mentee of their support system, their networks, yes, through critical stages of their career. The mentor gives a relevant insider's perspective on a certain career journey or leadership journey or any other journey that one may be on, and exposes you to different perspectives, of course, and experiences. The mentor can also identify passions, skill gaps, even potential in certain areas and point it out so that the mentee can take advantage of it. So when we think about it like that, is there any time that we as individuals, as professionals, will not be stepping out into new opportunities for leadership or career path opportunities? Is there a time limit for us to pursue new entrepreneurship opportunities, or to pursue new skills and refine our unique value proposition as individuals in the society, but also as professionals? If there is no time limit to that, then actually there's no time limit to having a mentor. Okay. Yes, there is always someone who has walked the journey that you have walked before, and therefore can be a powerful mentor, a powerful influencer, a powerful coach, a sponsor, or a connector to you. And therefore, it is important that we keep ourselves accountable and focused to always learn from others. Mentors do not have to be older than you, CEO. Yes, they can be younger than you. They can be your peers. Sometimes there's even reverse mentoring that happens. You start with a mentor or a mentee. You're walking them through a journey, and in the process you realize there is a journey they have also walked, which you're now walking, and you start mentoring each other. You can also have mentors in various aspects of your life at a certain time. Not all mentors can mentor you in all aspects of your life, whether it is family life or career or a leadership journey. Not all can have the full experience, but you can have mentors in various aspects, and they can work with you for as long as you both determine in the mentorship journey. They will always remain a network for you in any event. And so there is no fear around bringing the formal mentorship journey to an end. Yes.
You've spoken about very many things today, this morning, talking about you going back to school, you doing coaching classes, doing HR and all these things. I know, of course, you also have things going about family and stuff. So how do you balance all these things and ensure that you're still able to, meet the requirements of all these aspects of somebody's life?
See, that is a pertinent question, not only for myself, but I think for all professionals. I personally ascribe to the theory and the practice of pursuing integration rather than balance. Because it is necessary for all of us as professionals, as leaders in this society, as governance practitioners, yes, to understand that the desire that we each have to live out our purpose authentically dictates that as long as you have that grace, that you have that health, you have life that God has given us, that you bring your whole and best self to every situation in which you're placed, whether it is in your family, whether it is in your profession, whether it is in a marketplace assignment, whether it is in any societal space that you have been placed. So what then does that mean? Because all these things are happening at the same time. There is none that will be left behind. Yes. Each has to move forward. What I learned over time is first to let go of perfectionism. If one wants to be perfect in every situation, it may be very challenging and you may be setting yourself up to fail. But determine to bring your best self, the best that you can on that particular day, that particular hour, this particular minute. Here we are together. I bring the best that I can. It is also important that you start small and build from there, looking out for opportunities to integrate your whole life. So I'll give you a good example. Every time I went back to school, for example, to study for something, was when I could see stability in my family. The children were at a certain age with where either they had some level of independence or stability, and I would be able to see, okay, I can take out 1 year of focus with the support system that I have to actually give my mind to developing myself in one area or another. There are opportunities to, for example, when you can integrate your family into your work travel, for example. So it's just taking the small opportunities and building on them to ensure that your whole life is integrated. The other is the support system, CEO. Yeah. It's important to have a strong support system and take care of it. There are people who are there, whether it is your spouse, other family members, the people who manage your home, whether it is your colleagues in the office, your team members. If they are supporting you to thrive in your career, take care of them and grow them. The other two issues I would mention are, one thing I learned is this body, the one that we have been given, it's the only one that will take you from here where you are to there, wherever it is that you want to go, whether it's in your career or your leadership. Take care of it. Yes. Exercise, take care of your health. It's important that we believe in something greater than ourselves, because after all, at the end of the day, are we not accountable to one who is greater than ourselves? So all this, I think, support in ensuring that maybe it's not the balance you talked about, but there is an integration of the whole person in what you're doing. Yes.
So let me borrow your term in terms of your integration, all these things you're integrating, your lessons, you know, things you want to share with the viewers in terms of your life, your journey. What would you like to share with us?
Okay. So CEO, I think I would reflect on the fact that not only I, but all of us have a unique purpose and we have potential, which can only fully be experienced to be impactful in our society, in our professions, in every place that we are, if we are very keen on a few things.
Right.
We are keen to ring fence who we really are. Self-awareness is critical. What is the personality? What are the values that make one unique and able to bring a unique offering to any situation that they are in? What is the education, the learning, the career path that you have taken? What does it do in order to present an opportunity for you to serve excellently in whatever it is you're doing? What is the experience that you have? Not every experience is pleasant.
True.
But each experience is beneficial because you learn from it, you grow from it. what skills and what is the profile that you bring. Because at the end of the day, we are all called upon not just to chart your own path, but also to help others along the way. That is what mentorship is. But to be a good mentor, you can't give what you don't have. So you have to reflect, know what you have, what is that unique value proposition, guard it, grow it, and help others along the way.
Right.
So I think that is the experience. That is the learning I've had over the years.
And it's very, very amazing remarks. And I'll now request you to face that particular camera to give your closing remarks. As usual, we normally like inspiring also our younger members, people who are really aspiring. And those who say that one day when I grow up, I want to be like Nkirote. So,
wow, that is.
So you could give them your remarks as we went down the show.
So in terms of closing remarks, I really did reflect on the fact that actually self-governance is probably the most difficult and aspirational type of governance. There is a gentleman called William Penn who said, "No man is fit to command another that cannot command himself or herself." You have to own your own journey. You have to remember your values. Be ethical in every step of the journey that you have. Remain alert to mediocrity and learn to disrupt yourself. Take lessons from your disappointments, because the disappointments will be there one way or another. But temper your eagerness and ambition, because we are eager and very ambitious, especially the early part of our careers. Temper your eagerness and ambition with wise counsel. Get a mentor. Get somebody who can support you and give you counsel. Embrace opportunities to thrive. Hold someone's hand along the way. Even when you're young in your career, you have experience that you can help another. That is the only way we will remain fully accountable in our generation and impactful for the next generation. Thank you.
That was FCS Nkirote Mworia, the company secretary and legal counsel, UAP Old Mutual, sharing great insights about career development and mentorship. We thank you very, very much. This was the weekly governance show brought to you courtesy of the Institute of Statutory Secretaries, powered by Bafunde. I am your host, Obare. Until next week, see you.